Hey Vegas, thanks for joining us again right here on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show where Tiana and I are bringing you guys the news of what's happening in the Las Vegas real estate market straight from the professionals.
That's right, each and every week right here, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, awesome. And you guys, we are airing every Thursday at 9:30, so if you're watching us live right now, this is where we're at, same time, same channel. If you are not available at 9:30, just click download on whatever audio source you're listening on, and you'll be notified every time when there's a new show.
Whoop, whoop.
We have our guest today, who is a returning guest, Mike Kruse with Reside Realty. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself, and thank you for coming back.
Been in the business since 2004, enjoying the ups and downs that we're going to talk about, and
Ride on the roller coaster.
opened my own brokerage about a year and a half ago, and really enjoying it, and love working with clients.
Yes.
Buy, sell, and invest.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are the broker owner.
Yes.
Yes, of Reside, and you guys are over in Tivoli Village.
Yes, we're located on the second floor in the office space of Tivoli Village.
Okay.
That's a great location.
It
Love
is a
it.
great
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
Beautiful
It's been
views,
quite the
right?
ride.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
been quite the ride for you, 2004. You've seen all this market and every single crazy thing that has happened.
All of it, and watching it repeat itself to a certain extent.
Yeah, don't say that, or
No.
we got listeners out there that are fear-mongered into the news, and they are so worried about everything.
This is a good question, though. Are we seeing a repeat? Are we back in, because you were here,
Yes.
2006, 7, 8. What's the environment looking like today as opposed to then?
There's similarities, but honestly, no, it's not a repeat.
Okay.
It truthfully is so different. People have equity in their homes now. Back in 2008, the majority of people bought at the top of the market versus this last market we had, inventory was so low, there were not a lot of sellers, not a lot of buyers. So the people that are owning homes currently, they still have a ton of equity. And I don't foresee us having all those foreclosures hit the market.
And short sales.
Right.
And one thing that I was thinking about just yesterday is everyone has jobs. I mean, there's more
Yes.
jobs than people right now,
Right.
right? Like, people can
Right.
pay for their homes. All they have to do is go to work.
Yeah.
Like,
So I agree with all of that, right? There's at least, 80% of people have at least 40% equity in their house right now, which is so different. But on the news, you will hear everybody talk about the losses of jobs are coming. Like there was already.
they're coming.
Right.
Right.
And I think there may be some, however, there's still other jobs that they're looking to fill.
Yeah.
So, and the unemployment's actually so low right now, it won't really hurt the economy, I don't think, if it were to go up a little bit.
Well, that's
I could
very
be-
interesting.
That's just and here locally in Las Vegas especially,
Yeah,
the casinos are still reporting record revenue.
they are.
So as long as that's happening, our local market here, even if the rest of the country takes a little bit of a hit, yeah, our numbers might go down a little bit, but I still think they're going to be above what they were in 2019.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And our last jobs report was just released, and it was strong. It was good.
No, Vegas is doing very well.
So, and I think I know we're gonna get in a lot of this, like what the media is saying, and it's more like they're trying to scare people than, they're reporting more negative than positive. Like, oh, the job losses are coming.
Well, that's the special sauce of sales,
Well-
right? They're trying to keep you hooked and on and something to talk about, and we love the news.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we do a news show. So
That's why
there
we do
go.
a news show. Exactly. The exact reason. So let's talk what's going on in inventory right now.
Okay.
Our numbers are fun.
So it's crazy week over week watching it just in this past 4 to 6 weeks, the changes that have happened. Okay, give them to us. Hit us. What do you got?
6247 single family homes on the market.
Okay.
Yeah. Mike, where were they last time when you were on the show? You were on about a year ago or
No, it wasn't
earlier in
even-
the year?
Earlier in the year. It was the second or third week in February.
Okay.
And if I recall, it was just over 1,800 at the time.
That sounds about right.
So it's
That's
more
that
than
is
triple.
about right. Yeah, 6247 from 1800. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, Vegas.
Way to get those listings. All right, buyers, where are you at? Let's
Get
go.
those listings. That means all of our agents are out there working their tails off,
Right.
getting those listings. Price reduction 1646.
Okay, so that's not a big jump from last week.
Yeah,
We
that-
got more stock, but not a lot of price reduction.
Yeah, our price reductions is close to what our inventory was.
Yeah, back then in February, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those price reductions, it's just that come to Jesus moment with the sellers. You know, it's like these are not, you know, the home is not going to sell at this price. We got to get the price adjusted to be able to get buyers in there. And that is right now with all the inventory, those price reductions aren't even being as impactful as they were before.
Right.
That's absolutely true.
Well, and I can tell you what I've done with my listings and what I'm telling my agents to do with their listings. Maybe instead of taking a price reduction, speak with their sellers and actually put into the comments that they're willing to buy down the interest rate, pay buyers closing costs.
Okay. Yeah. Give the buyers some incentives. And I think we're back to a market where those agent bonuses are going to come in effect.
Oh, I'm seeing them on the MLS.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from the builders.
Yeah.
And from the builders. So those are, you know, it's been a while since we've seen anything like that. We've had completely the opposite of it over the last couple years, but I think we're back in back in those. You know, let's incentivize them to choose your home over the others. And it's a beauty contest when it comes to the homes these days. You really got
because we have options for our buyers.
yeah,
Right.
put your best foot forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. 1,411 new listings over the last week.
Solid.
That's a good number.
It's a good number. Yep. I did this week. I usually don't report these numbers, but this week I just decided to take a look at these and see how many went into contract.
Okay, what do you got?
So
What do you
765.
got? Okay.
So let's look at that for a minute.
Yeah.
765. Wow, that's awesome. But 1,400 new listings. So there's 2 new listings for everyone going into contract, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
This is true.
Those
yeah.
are what we call options for buyers.
Right. Those are options for buyers.
Those are, and those numbers, I've looked at those numbers over the years. Whenever I've had like a buyer that I'm shopping with, you know, just over since I've been in real estate, if I ever have a buyer that I'm shopping with and we're having a hard time, I take a look like how many are going in contract versus how many listed, because if we're having a hard time getting in a contract, there's an inventory issue. And usually the number's higher in contract than listed over the 7-day period.
Right.
So having it half is definitely a big change.
We're quickly approaching a full-blown buyer's market is what that tells me.
Right. And of those 700 that do go under contract, we're seeing some of them fall out.
That's a good number because that's our next number.
Oh, well, there we go.
Thank you. Thank you. See, she set me right up.
Oh, it was all part of the plan. We rehearsed it, I swear.
Yeah, 247 back on the market in 7 days. That's a huge amount of fallouts.
That's a lot of fallout.
It is. We need to look at why are they canceling. I don't think the issue is probably repairs on most of them.
I don't believe so.
Found a better deal.
Found a better deal is the bottom line. There are so many options out there. The buyers, they're not quitting looking when they finally get an accepted deal. They
That's
keep
true.
looking.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them come into the market and they have the fear like, okay, it's been so crazy, I might not get a house. So then they get a house and they're like, yay, I have a house. And all of a sudden something new and shiny shows up and they're like, but I love that countertop or I love that backyard and I think we can get that.
Right.
And so they're being a little more picky now that they have that luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one case I've seen is where the accepted offer was on a contingency of them selling their property out of state. Well, it's not just here that things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they weren't able to sell that out of state property, they had no choice but to cancel.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they're back to, you know, I mean, as a seller, don't be shocked if a buyer comes and asks for $10,000 repair credit, like it's
Yeah.
not, doesn't mean you have to agree to that. Of course, that's where we come in with negotiations, but we're back at we're back at this time where the buyers are calling the shots. I think we are in a buyer's market.
I do as well.
Yeah, it like flipped quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 10 days ago it was, we're shifting. And then now we're like, no, it's definitely buyer friendly.
Yeah, I think this is probably the strongest of the buyer's market I've been in since I've been in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's shifted very quickly. But negotiations are great for buyers. And
Well, it's kind of nice
Right.
too as an agent because now we get to hold our value. Before, things were just flying off the shelves and our buyers were mad at us because they thought we were working for the other side. And,
Right.
we felt, it was like,
Make
no.
them pay more.
Right. I'm not telling you to come over appraised value because I
Right.
love you spending all your cash. I just need you to know that if you want the house, this is what we're doing. Now our role has changed and we get to use our strengths in
We
negotiations.
can truly represent our buyers.
I love that.
And negotiate for them.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
great. I'm glad to be back to doing that.
Yes.
yeah. And then on listings, we have to do more marketing now.
Right.
We have to work. We have to
Right.
work now. We didn't have to. It was kind of like vacation, not vacation. It was hell, if I'm being honest.
It was not. It was not
just
great.
writing
Yeah.
offer after offer after offer and just trying to be the first one to the punch. I mean, I remember the first weekend I went out and had to do open houses, and there were lines at open houses, and I was like, don't love this.
No. And as a listing agent, I'm sorry, but I don't miss sifting through 30 offers either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Well, it's
14
hard,
hours.
especially when you get a lot of offers that are so identical and you're going apples for
Right.
apples. Like, how are you going to make the decision? Glad that wasn't my decision to make.
Yeah, and then you have all those like unethical people that are sending offers and they're, sending BS offers just to get you to take their offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're in contract, it's like nothing but hassle with them the whole way through. It's just
Right. Like, the news is spinning it now, like, 15% of those that go under contract are getting canceled now and blah, blah, blah. But back then, so many were getting canceled because people were just dropping offers on everything contingent upon seeing, we didn't like it, the area wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Things were moving so fast, people couldn't really do their due diligence, so they were canceling.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. And on that, I know personally, I was impacted with this on a listing that we had, but I've heard a lot of people locally, a lot of these hedge funds backed out.
Yep.
And these hedge funds, even up until a few weeks ago, were still buying all of these properties for rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a turnkey property that was only a couple years old and really good condition, there's a couple companies, I could name them, but I won't put their names out there, that were just, they'd make you a really good offer on the property, a strong offer, it was a cash offer, and, obviously in the environment that we're in, sellers were like, okay, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
And they just canceled a bunch of their escrows. They canceled one of ours over the last couple weeks because they've reviewed their numbers and the market, and they no longer want to move forward. So this happened over the last 2 weeks nationwide, and it had a huge effect.
Well, and you speak of the hedge funds. I had a client that's going to be listing soon. He had gotten an offer from an iBuyer,
Yeah.
and his iBuyer over the last 3 weeks dropped their offer $100,000.
Jeez. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's significant.
Yeah.
It is, and I get. So I have a service that I had opted into a while back, where every time I'm putting in a listing, I see what's the iBuyer. They send it out to a pool of iBuyers, and
Right.
what's those cash offers looking like? Whoa, they're not even
Right.
attractive anymore. I'm like, not my competition.
And
Yeah.
3 months ago,
Yeah.
they were offering above market price.
yeah.
And
No, they're
now they're-
nowhere
That
near
was
it.
the beauty.
Right.
They're nowhere near it now. I looked at a home just yesterday that was comped at about 475, and the iBuyer offer was 303 to 360. I was like, there's no way they'd even
Yeah.
consider that one.
Okay, so I'm going to be an iBuyer. I want to
Yeah,
buy
right.
everything up.
Well, we're back at the market where and this is how it's I guess supposed to be, or that's why I feel like it's supposed to be, where the cash offers are unreasonable. Those are for the people that just can't. They need to sell their home and they
Right.
can't get it market ready for whatever reason.
Right.
That's when you go to a cash offer. It's unreasonable because they need return to flip. historically that's what those offers are supposed
Absolutely.
to be. But what we've seen over the last couple of years is like, whoa, what's
Yeah,
going
well, the
on?
past
Right.
couple of years have just been a fun roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
add something real quick. What I've been seeing though is these economists out there, including Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're still predicting gains over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So while we're talking about, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, inventory's way up, they're still predicting prices are going to go up.
Right.
And if that happens with interest rates going up, buyers don't wait.
Yeah,
It's such a good time to buy.
Yeah.
and this is a good point here too. So we're having a lot of, I feel like media is just this feeding frenzy again, right? Which is what they do.
Right.
Of, oh, the market's crashing, let's report everything about this, but not really report what they're reporting and what's really happening are two different things.
Right.
But buyers are panicking as a result to what they're reporting, which is slowing down the market. Sellers are panicking, which is putting all the homes on the market. And I feel like we are still in a period where things are going to settle and it's not going to be as bad as it looks.
Right.
They're talking about 10 to 13%. The economists are talking about 10 to 13% adjustment.
Nationally.
Yeah, and that's not horrible. I'm sorry, it's not horrible.
No.
It's not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear prices are going down at all, but that's really not, I feel like that's a necessary and reasonable adjustment compared to where we were.
Right. You don't want to see a drastic drop, and we're in the business, so we see it all the time. There's always an ebb and flow, and we're constantly shifting, but it's nothing drastic. It's not like the ground is falling out from underneath us. We're still
Right.
able to.
And that's what makes us different now than back in 2008 to 2009.
Right.
Is what was set up then, we were set up for failure then.
Right.
Versus now it's
We were a
totally
house
different.
of cards back then.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And even if the overall economy goes into a recession, if you look back in history with recessions in the United States, in the bulk of those recessions, the housing market still increased.
Really? Yeah, that's
Which is
Yeah.
nice.
that.
And
that-
even in the worst recessions, the housing market recovered fairly
Right,
quickly in
quickly.
consideration. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Our June GLVAR statistics just released. They said that there was, or not even just GLVAR, nationwide, over
it's
60.
LVR now.
LVR, yes.
You're
sorry.
just too old
I'm
school.
Well, nationwide, over 60,000 homes were back on the market in June. I feel like the July is gonna, those numbers are gonna increase, but we're still in the early stages of July. We'll see what happens the rest of the month.
Right.
And for locally, we're showing that our sales numbers were down. Our median home price dropped. But again, we're still early stages of July. We'll see how this month plays out. But I think that that's going to drop a little bit more this month as well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, the concessions for rate buy downs. These are something that right now in this market we're talking about. It's a lot more buyer friendly, and having those concessions and opportunities there for buy downs for the rates is something that buyers are not. They're too worried right now and too panicked with what's being reported on the news to think about what the opportunity is there.
Right.
The opportunity right now, 3 months ago, you needed cash to buy a house.
Absolutely.
Now you have your down payment, you're good to go. Get your closing costs paid for. Even get a little extra to buy that rate down.
Yeah, I like the extra buy the rate down. That's good marketing
Right.
versus like a price drop and make every. I like that they're offering rate buy downs, and I would ask for a rate buy down in my offers.
Right. And there are a lot of mortgage lenders out there that feel the rates will probably come down again next year. I've seen a couple of mortgage lenders out there pushing 2-1 buy downs.
Yeah.
So get that lower interest rate to start with for the first couple of years.
Well, that seems to be the only thing right now with the buyers that I'm dealing with is the fear of this interest rate and how it affects their
Right.
payment, whatever. So if you can get a seller to buy that down instead of reducing price, then it's sort of a win-win for everybody. Seller's happy, and then buyer gets their interest rate fear taken care of.
Right.
Yeah, Yeah, most definitely. I think that again, it's just looking at stop panicking and look at this.
Look at the big picture.
Look at the big picture.
We all know the new real estate saying is marry the house, not the rate.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so it's gone viral. What can I say?
It has.
Yes, that's I've repeated that way too much
right?
lately.
I think I have it on a couple T-shirts now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Right, that should be our new logo.
You should get T-shirts. I'm down for the T-shirts. So again, they say that this is the highest rate of cancellation since the start of COVID. I think that that's a little piece of the report that people need to look at.
Well, and I think they're saying that nationally, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen myself, other than a bunch of investors like pulling out, I've seen more cancellations during the feeding frenzy that was a few months ago because people were or so many homes back when we didn't have days on market and things were flying off the shelves. There were so many no-shows until you're into contract, contingent upon viewing. And so you'd get there and they'd be like, yeah, not even in my wildest dreams could I live here. We're done.
You're absolutely right. And it goes back to the fear mongering in the media. You touched on it. You mentioned that the local news did a story on cancellations. Why is the local news doing a story on real estate cancellations?
Well, they're keeping them
What do
informed.
they know about real estate?
Yeah, well, right.
So thank you, local news, for trying to keep the Valley informed. But when the Valley needs to be informed, they're going to come here to Realty Check because we'll give you the goods.
Look at this though. Okay, so back when we had 1,800 in inventory, for instance, and there's 30 offers on a house, and you're negotiating an offer with a buyer, and the buyer goes into contract, how quickly did that status change?
Right. Yeah.
It hung around.
It hung
for
around.
a
Taking way
minute.
too long.
No one cared about days on the market back then.
Yeah.
Right now, you get an offer, you change the status immediately, because if you do have to go back on the market, you don't want your days on the market to tally up more than they need to tally. There is a little bit of a strategy there. We're talking only a couple days. I don't think anybody was doing anything that they shouldn't be doing.
Right, just
but
enough to make my buyers nervous. The next morning, they'd all be like, hey, it's still on the market.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not March. It hasn't changed yet. And I'm like, slow your roll. We're
yeah.
good.
Well, people were doing 3-day due diligence, so they had to do their home inspection the same day they're depositing EMD. So the listing agent didn't want to change the status yet.
Right.
So
Or your buyer's saying, why won't they take my offer? It still says it's available.
oh my gosh,
that's the
those
worst.
calls, right? So I feel like those numbers are a little skewed, just because as real estate professionals, we see that change right now in the market where back on the market, maybe all of the back on the markets weren't being tallied correctly during that time because of that.
Yeah, I think there was discrepancy on
Well,
all of it, right?
As a
bit.
listing agent, though, why would you put it back on the market when you had a cancellation when you had 6 backup offers?
Right.
was
Absolutely.
always
You
weird,
didn't want
too.
to start the frenzy again.
Right. Yeah. And start all the, then, every time you put it active, you get 100 offers.
Right. So, clearly those numbers weren't legitimate. And to my point, there's always cancellations.
Yeah.
There's nothing newsworthy about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They happen in every market for
Yeah.
a variety of reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, there's nothing unusual.
Newsworthy.
Yeah.
They're like, we need to fill a minute and 30 here. What can we throw in there?
Yeah.
Let's scare some people.
It's back to the fear. As soon as they find something else to move on to make people scared of, they're gonna let housing do whatever it's going to do. Do whatever it's going to do.
Right.
I just feel like the media right now is just adding fuel to the fire, making it worse than what it really is. So that's not helping us out at all. Local news. So we have some local news here in Vegas. Let's talk about Elvis for a minute.
He's still alive, just so you know.
Just so you know. So this is the kind of commercial, but it does go a little bit back to residential. The Heartland Mansion recently got demolished. This is, over the last few years, it's been a wedding chapel venue, a vacation spot. And it's downtown Las Vegas. It recently got purchased by the owners of the adult superstore. So
It did.
so we just love the history is going to be replaced with something more Vegas, I guess.
More Vegas.
More Vegas.
Hey, it's everywhere.
More
It's
modern
adults.
Vegas, I guess.
Or modern Vegas, yeah. So
Yeah, so there was two sides to that, right? The news went out and got all the neighbors. We're so sad to see it go. It's a piece of history, and I get all of that. And then I believe you were like, I think the city should sort of regulate or have it as history to where they couldn't tear it down, because they did everything right. They bought it, they got the permits, they tore it down. It's his property. He can do what he wants with it, right?
yeah.
Right.
But so then I always have to go back like, well, if you cared so much about the history of Vegas, then it should have been protected, and nobody made those efforts until it was gone.
Right.
Now
Right.
they all sit and
And-
cry about it,
Yeah.
which I get it. I'm sad about it.
Right. But we have to realize we live in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything truly here to stay?
No, when people come here and they laugh and they're like, oh, I don't want an old home, I want a new home. I'm like, everything in Vegas is new.
Right.
We're known for, oh, that's old, let's tear it down and rebuild.
Right. And it's 10 years old, by the way.
Right. No, it's not. Like the house that my brother lives in was built in like 1902 in Minnesota, and then here they're like, oh, I don't want an old house. I'm like, I don't really consider 1998 old.
Right.
So, yeah.
But it is. It
For
is.
Vegas standards, I
And
guess.
In reading an article, it was online, and somebody had commented, and this kind of sums it up. If the Mirage volcano isn't sacred, nothing is.
This is true. This is
so
true.
sad.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I just
Perspective.
remembered that. I forgot all about the volcano.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, things get ripped down, and everybody's like, oh, it's so sad, it's gone. And it's sad. We do have a piece of that history. We're not grounded in history like other parts of the country, right? I mean, except for at Lake Mead, where our history uncovers itself
yeah.
due to a drought.
Well, yeah.
Whole
there's
other
that.
subject.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. The adult superstore owners did what he needed to do. He bought the property. He had the money. He got the permits. Nothing that he did was illegal or wrong. So
Right.
it affected the people across the street. The neighbors weren't happy. I get it.
Yep.
I get it, but it's not their
We
property.
have neighborhoods all the time where something goes in and somebody's not happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't please everybody.
Right.
So this was originally, it was originally a private residence.
It was.
It was originally constructed in 1940, had a fire, it burnt down, then it got reconstructed based off of the original, plan or whatever. So I guess it wasn't truly historic. However, Elvis had partied there, Frank Sinatra, there had been,
I've partied there.
Have you? Really?
Wow, Tiana.
That's a whole other story too, you guys.
I never went. I looked at the photos. Like, how come I never went there?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm sad. I didn't get to visit.
And now you'll never get the chance.
Yes.
But there'll probably be an amazing adult superstore there you could frequent if you're interested.
That's okay. I think I'll pass. But it was the largest private residence ever built in Las Vegas, and I believe it was 31,000 square feet. So pretty massive, pretty amazing.
It definitely
big
earned
house.
mansion.
Yeah, so it definitely deserved the name mansion. So I'm sad to see it go. Even though I never got to visit it, the
Right.
photos looked amazing.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is it's part of progression of the city, right? It's downtown, it's a good location. If you want to add to the cityscape there, then I don't know what the plans for it are. I don't really know that he's putting an adult superstore there.
I think that's the plans. I don't know. I don't want to report fake
There's
news.
one
but,
fairly close. I mean, I don't know why
Yeah.
I know that.
but I'm not sure. Maybe another mansion. I don't know. But hopefully something nice goes there. But yeah, it is. It's
Well, it's going to be commercial, right? It's zoned commercial now.
it's on Las
Yes.
Vegas
Yeah.
Boulevard, so
So
it is
it's
downtown.
not going to be a house.
Yeah, so it's not
Maybe
going.
residence.
Yeah.
Let's put a skyscraper there.
Not going to be a
Right.
residence. It's downtown, so it did. It did end up to be prime real estate. So that's what happens. And there's other parts of the city that have houses that are now commercial.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at Eastern Avenue between like Tropicana and Russell.
Yeah.
Jones, right there by the 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were all once homes, and then they became prime real estate for
Yeah.
commercial properties, and it is one of those things that happens. I feel like I wish that we would keep some history in Vegas. I mean,
So we don't have a great I shouldn't say we don't have a great historical society. We do. We have people out there working and trying to preserve the community, and I love that. But unfortunately, they always seem to be a bit behind. So I don't know that I don't know whether it's their passion or the limitations placed on them by the city or what the discrepancy is on why we can't keep those historical things. But we do have like the old Huntridge Historic District.
I was just going to say the Huntridge area is great.
Yeah.
And the developer there now, Jay Dapper, he's doing a really good job of trying to keep the old feel of the neighborhood.
Right.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I love that. And that is something that I hope we see more of in Vegas, because it's recently I visited California and I visited the Winchester Mansion.
Nice.
Yes. So amazing, right? But just think about that. What if somebody came there and they were like, oh, you know what, this house sucks, and tore it down and never preserved it? We wouldn't have that.
Right.
But here's the thing. I'm going to be devil's advocate again, right? They did the right thing. They purchased the house. It's their house. They can do what they want with it. They got the permits from the city to tear it down. There was no hold up. It was out there. People knew it was coming down. It wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
So if actions were going to be made, you can't cry about spilled milk.
Right.
It
Right.
happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should have taken the steps
Right.
earlier.
Your next step is to go and preserve 10 buildings in place of the one that we lost.
Right. And
Yeah.
the neighbors, I'm sure
Do we
they were
have 10
notified.
historic buildings in Vegas?
There's only 6 left. No.
Yeah, we better get those 6 on the list.
Yeah. They were notified ahead of time.
Yeah,
So there was
yeah,
time
no,
to
there was.
do something about it. Yeah.
And-
Absolutely.
But it did move quickly according to the neighbors, and sometimes that's the way Vegas rolls. We're action, man.
Right. Progress is going to happen
Mm-hmm.
whether you can come along or get left behind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Move, follow, or get
Yeah.
out the way.
That's it.
Stay out of my fast lane, people.
Yes. Yes. So great show. If you guys are watching the show every week, we do have listener questions where you can email us and we'll answer the questions live on the show. That address is vegasrealtycheck@gmail.com. Just send your questions to that email. We'll answer them right here live whenever we air. So, Mike, how do people get in contact with you?
Give me a call, 702-286-3434. If there's any agents out there watching that want to do an open house, my company, we have listings available that need open houses as soon as this weekend. So.
Oh, that was just telling for our market right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Market has shifted. You're going to see open house signs everywhere out
Yes.
there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So yes, and agents, brand new agents, people that are new in real estate, you don't have to have your own listing to do an open
Right.
house at it. You can do an open house at somebody else's listing. And as a listing agent, I prefer to have other people do the open houses because it's not because I don't want to do open houses or anything like that, but it's because I feel like the buyers, when they come into a home and you're not the listing agent that's in there, they're more comfortable talking with you and you're going to have a better success rate of getting that buyer into contract. Whereas if they go in and they see that you're the listing agent, they put their brakes on almost everything that you say from that point on because they know that you're representing the seller.
Right.
You're just trying to give us a pitch on this house.
Yeah, you're just trying to give me a sales pitch. But when you say, no, I'm not the listing agent, I'm a neutral, another agent that's neutral to this
I always
property.
say I'm your new buyer agent.
Yeah. Well, there you
There
go.
you
Meet your new buyer's agent. So I really feel like the overall success rate of that happening is better. And sometimes too, having that other buyer's agent that says, this isn't the property for you, or let's compare this property to the one across the street. The listing agent isn't going to do that. They're not going to take you to that other listing to show you the property. They're going to try to push you on that home. Where having another agent to do the open house, they're going to show you your options, and then you still might choose that home once you
Right.
see your options. So I just think that's better. So yes, if you're an agent out there and you need somewhere to do an open house, contact Mike, and he will. Sounds like they have some listings
Get
for
you connected.
Get you connected,
Fair
get
enough.
you set up, and it's
Yeah.
a great way to meet buyers. Great way to do some lead gen.
All right.
Tiana,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you have to say here?
Well, I was just going to say that if anybody needed to talk to me, I know everybody wants to talk to Mike, but if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can always call or text me too with any of your real estate questions, or if you're inquiring about the Valley or anything at 702-379-9948. And how did they get a hold of you, Trish?
702-308-2878. And call, text,
Send a messenger pigeon.
Messenger.
Email us.
Will someone please send me a messenger pigeon? I've never got
You've
one.
never gotten
no.
one? Me either.
No, and I hear about this all the time. I've never, I just.
Man, I'm living my best life. I've actually got a messenger pigeon, but I did, have a background in bird training, so.
Okay. All right.
I was partied at the mansion. I got a messenger pigeon.
Wow.
Checking off everything on my bucket list, people.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive background there. So thank you guys for joining. If you're watching the show, please like, comment, share, tell your friends about us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.